the easiest ways to change up the look of your home is by switching out the hardware on your cabinetry or perhaps even your furniture. We get you inspired to refresh any room as we explore the latest styles and trends in decorative hardware on today's SoFlo Home Project. Welcome to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Alena Capra. Choosing the right hardware is the easiest way to transform any room. Knobs and pulls are often considered the jewelry of the home. They're akin to choosing the right accessories to complete a beautiful outfit. Today we have expert advice on choosing the right hardware finish for your home, the latest in customizable hardware, the correct placement option on doors and drawers, and so much more. So we are here today talking about all things decorative hardware with Debbie and Nikki. Debbie Miller of Miller's Elegant Hardware and Nikki Grantham, Creative Director with Bellwood Product. Welcome to SoFlo Home Project.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
So very excited to have you guys here with us today. We get a lot of viewer questions on SoFlo Home Project, and I think one of the biggest questions is, how do you pick the right cabinet hardware? What finishes, what styles? There's so much out there. And I wanted to first jump into talking about the finishes. We see a lot of popular finishes from our plumbing fixtures, and following that in suit is the hardware to sort of match that.
So from a staple standpoint, we have what we call core finishes. So in a core finish, you're going to have your brushed gold and brass, which kind of matches that modern gold that you see out there. They look at the attributes of that particular design style and decide what finish best plays with those attributes. So for instance, one of our new finishes that we're coming up with is our black nickel.
This
has been a huge trend in Europe. But what we were seeing is that if it was placed on the wrong type of hardware, it wasn't showing the best that it could. The gunmetal as well.
That's gorgeous.
It's a great finish.
Beautiful
there's so many people that like this gunmetal because it works really well with the matte blacks, which are prominent, without having to go totally black.
Yes. Here in the South Florida marketplace, people are starting to steer away from the matte blacks. They're going to a softer but still having the contrast. So the gunmetal, this is gorgeous. The black chrome.
Yeah, it's a really nice happy medium. And I think down to from your door hardware to your cabinet hardware to your plumbing fixtures, this is all a very nice soft tone that still makes a statement.
White was very similar. When we brought the white out, I wanted to make sure it worked with warm surfaces and it also worked with the cold.
So to keep on with our finishes, we've got a mixture. So I'm looking at something like this to this. So we talked about the brass. This is more of a champagne finish.
What, again, we do from a manufacturing perspective is that we'll look at all of the plumbing fixtures. We'll look at lighting. We found the market to be a complete split between the BGB.
I'm looking at this and I'm knowing which plumbing fixtures work with both of them.
You know exactly which ones.
As a designer, we hone into those things.
Exactly, and it was a complete split. So it was something that we felt our line needed both a champagne and a brushed golden.
We got finishes kind of nailed down here, but also materials in addition, mixing materials.
We're seeing people that want to get into elements that are maybe not so contemporary. Now people are trending to warm things up a little bit. And I do think that the woods and the stones allow them to get away from what we would call the traditional go-tos and now say, you know what, I want something a little bit different.
Coming up, ways to change up the style of your cabinets with customizable hardware on SoFlo Home Project.
SoFlo Home Project is sponsored in part by Eldorado Furniture. Looking to refresh your home? Visit us online at eldoradofurniture.com or a showroom near you.
I'm Jennifer.
And I'm John with USA Windows and Doors, and today we are visiting a job site. We're installing new impact windows.
And what I want to pay attention to here is the conditions of the pre-existing window that the homeowner had. As you can see, there is some mold that's growing on here. You can technically see right here, there's water infiltration, which eventually will seep into the drywall, will start bubbling out here, and then that's when you can see it. And another thing is, look at this window. I can't, John, can you help me?
It doesn't open. Oh.
Yes, it does. I wanted to open the window. As you saw, it was very hard to open, so it's not very functional. But I wanted to point out all the debris that's inside of here, all the mold that's growing inside of there. So this homeowner decided to replace this window that's not functional, it's not good for their home, with a brand new impact window. And what we have here, it's already during the process, the first two windows were put in. These are arched windows. And look at the difference. With this window, I have an obstructed view with grids. And with this window, I have a nice clear opening that I can see outside, and I have an unobstructed view.
This is an older home in the Gables, and what we did, we replaced all the rotten wood, all the mold that was in the wall. We replaced everything. There's no more old wood, no rotten wood. Everything is brand new.
So this new window is going to be going into the existing opening. It's all made to size, and it's a impact window that is meeting today's code. Now that is important because a lot of impact windows have been around for a long time, and code has changed over time. It's important that you have a window that meets today's code.
Are you ready to upgrade your windows and doors today? Call USA Windows and Doors.
Or visit us at our website at usawindowsanddoors.com.
Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Alena Capra, and we are continuing to talk about all things decorative hardware for the home with Debbie Miller and Nikki Grantham. So Debbie and Nikki, before the break, we really kind of dove into trends with finishes. We've seen lots of beautiful new emerging finishes, hit some of the core classics as well. But now I wanted to switch gears and talk about customized hardware. Sometimes you really need that special piece.
Well, custom in itself is trending. The struggle with customizable hardware is that the lead times for a custom hardware are, you're talking 12, 16, 20 weeks. What we did was came out with a program, it's Keeler Brass, that is semi-custom. So it's basically pieces that can be pre-made, that there's so many options when you put them together that it becomes a semi-custom. So instead of waiting for 12, 16 weeks, you're talking 4 to 6 weeks.
It's amazing.
For American-made, U.S. product, solid brass.
Wow.
It's really unheard of.
I mean, and that lead time is fantastic.
I also think that when clients come in and know that there's something that's available that will be just their piece, that is a greater buy-in for them to want to wait that little bit extra on the lead time.
And to do a program like this, we made the first ever in the industry designer toolkit. You're able to show the client their
So many finishes.
Yes.
so many finishes, their post that they're looking at, and their finish, and you think, well, how do I show that? Well, we have a digital configurator that will actually build the product right in front of your consumer, and they can switch and play with the finishes, and then you can actually bring out your toolkit and show your client.
Mix and match. I love
This is exactly what you're looking at.
So what's really beautiful is that you've introduced a traditional post, a transitional post, some contemporary posts that can pick up any element in a home. So again, I think that part of the customizable feature is amazing.
Absolutely.
all about those details,
Yes.
right? Nothing like having physical samples.
Absolutely.
See the color, the tone, the details.
I am an old school designer. I still draw things out on pencil and paper.
You're speaking my language.
There
Yes,
we go, girl.
love this.
Yes.
You will never, ever get away from tactile.
Absolutely.
We have to touch, we have to feel. You want to feel fabric, you want to feel wallpaper that's textured. You touch that hardware more than anything else in that kitchen.
That's a great point. Now, speaking of tactile, let's talk about a lot of the details in here, the different styles. I see some knurling, I see coining, all the details on the edges of the knobs, but you have some leathers there, you have a lot of different things.
Our knurling, when you talk about attention to detail, we went with the finest knurl that you can
So
get,
pretty.
so you can actually touch it and you can feel how smooth it is.
Oftentimes, the consumer will be concerned about any kind of a debris that's left on their hardware, especially hardware
That's
that
a
they touch
conversation.
a lot. And in this case, you don't feel a porous texture, yet you see the texture there.
I did not want the consumer to be using a toothbrush on the daily to clean their hardware.
No.
So that's why it's as smooth as it can be.
Beauty and function right there.
Absolutely.
Next, we look at placement options to consider before installing your hardware on SoFlo Home Project. So curb appeal is one of those things that everyone wants for their home. And a very big part of that is the garage door. So we're here today with Tam from Secure Lifts. Let's first talk about someone's coming to find a garage door option. They're not really sure where to begin.
If you allow me here, I have, this is a non-insulated, for example. And
Okay.
as you see here, it kind of a little
Open.
bit look empty. And you see the hollow door. So that door is very strong because the hurricane struts come to protect the door as well. On the other hand, we have the insulated door, and this is one of the designs, and it's come solid, so you don't see any foam in the back or anything like that.
So for a climate controlled garage, this is something you're going to recommend
That's
over the other.
correct. We have 11 color to choose from. Those are the standard color for the insulated door. For non-insulated, of course, it's only 5. So we have different designs, 7 designs that we can choose from. We have a pretty wide selection of doors. We have it in stock.
Nice.
All made in America.
Tam, so you guys at Secure Lifts Garage Doors have something special that you're planning.
It's true. We are actually giving a free brand new hurricane insulated door. As well, for another option, we're giving a free motor. And for those who doesn't win, we give them 10% discount on any insulated door. All you have to do is just go to securelifts.com/giveaway and fill up the form right there. And voila, you'll be entered in a raffle to win one free brand new door.
How do homeowners reach you at Secure Lifts Garage Door if they're thinking about updating their curb appeal with a new garage door?
Go to securelifts.com, or you can give us a call at 888-9-DOORS-9.
Tam, I want to thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So it is hurricane season, and although we don't want to have any hurricanes this year, sometimes they are a reality, especially here in South Florida. We are here today with Susan Manning of All American Roofing. So Susan, how can homeowners prepare their home for hurricane season, or just get prepared in general for all the unknowns?
Well, if you don't have a generator, I would make sure you have batteries. Determine who you'd like to use should you have an issue after the hurricane. Get their phone numbers. So if anybody wants our phone number, All American Roofing, they could put our phone number down in their hurricane kit. Maybe a plumber, an electrician, tree trimmer, landscaper, insurance company, maybe even prescriptions, doctors. We have all these numbers ahead of time. It'll be a lot quicker than trying to search the internet, if you have internet after the hurricane.
Absolutely, good point.
And have all this ready. As you know, I'm very old school, so I like to write everything down with a piece of paper and pencil, but I know a lot of people don't like to do that, so maybe if they take a picture of what's listed on the screen right now.
Absolutely, great to have all that information handy for any event with the home. Susan, let's switch gears now and talk a little bit more about what at All American Roofing you provide for homeowners and also commercial businesses.
Yeah, so what we do is re-roofs, repairs, preventative maintenance on buildings, condos, commercial buildings. So as you were talking about before, preparing, this maybe is one of the good ideas to have somebody come and just check all that.
Absolutely. So now I think one of the most important things in all of this is if homeowners do want to go ahead, if they need a repair, if they need a potential new roof or want to do some maintenance on that, how do they reach you at All American Roofing?
They call All American Roofing at 954-772-7663 or on the web at www.allamericanroof.com.
Susan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Alena Capra, and we are continuing to talk about beautiful decorative hardware for your home with Debbie Miller of Miller's Elegant Hardware and Nikki Grantham, the creative director with Bellwith Products. So Nikki and Debbie, I think this is one of the hardest parts of hardware because there's so many options. We could pick beautiful pieces of hardware. How do you find the right size? How do you know where to place it? Something like this here, transitional door. Perhaps with this, we've got two different sizes of hardware.
We're seeing a lot of people looking at the horizontal locations, whether or not they want to keep everything horizontal, or do they want to do the vertical on the doors and then the horizontal on the drawers.
So in this case, you can kind of play around.
Absolutely.
And it helps to kind of see it with the door style. I always love picking it, having a sample door when we're looking at the hardware.
I agree.
Something with smaller, this might be, you could still put it in this, but there's also the conversation of if you want to easily open it, is it easier for people in the center? Is it easier to have it vertical?
Yeah, we're seeing from a national perspective, sizes are increasing. Now, you don't just make a pull longer, you've got to scale it.
Like for example, here, it's just the center portion that is elongating, all of that stays the same.
All of that stays the same and proportionate looks correct.
And now, this is a very popular door style in South Florida. I know a lot of homeowners are loving this sort of thinner shaker profile.
Yes. Over the past year or so, knobs have been reintroduced. It is a very classic feel when you have your knobs. However, we are still currently seeing handles being used on most pieces. So we just try to create a safe space with our customers, letting them know that anything goes.
Love
and
this.
I think that that's a perfect example because it becomes the decorative focal point.
I tell my clientele when I'm working with them as well is don't forget your personality.
Yeah.
So I like to leave my stamp on things that I do.
Look
And
at,
if
I mean,
that
even on a
means-
slab door, how beautiful
Exactly.
that adds.
Putting a piece of jewelry on there, if that's who I am, if that's the essence of me, don't leave that out of your kitchen.
And I think a lot of times we will use the analogy, this is a black dress or a suit. You can accessorize it, you can pop it out, you can have it a little subtle, your personality,
Absolutely.
whatever floats your boat, but hardware will make the cabinetry.
So well put. So often when we are designing with new cabinetry, it's sort of a, you have a carte blanche to do whatever you want to do with the hardware because there's no pre-existing drilled holes.
Yes.
So when replacing hardware, that's a great way to dress up your cabinetry, give it a new life. But what are some of the tips and tricks to get that right?
Hardware absolutely has a specific hole measurement. We call that center to center.
Yes.
And that measurement is from screw to screw. So you need to be able to tell that to whoever you're doing the purchase with so they can get you started.
We do what's called a double boring. So if you had an existing 3-inch center to center and you wanted to give it more of an elongated, more modern look, we have a second hole drilled in many of our pieces, not all, but many, that gives you a second set of drill holes. You may have an existing hole, but when you put this on now, you're going to get an elongated look.
Very nice.
In the
Love
cabinetry.
a cup roll
Beautiful.
too.
Modernizes it very quickly.
Yes.
And again, sometimes that's all you need to do to update your kitchen.
Next, hardware trends that infuse personality and elegance to your home on SoFlo Home Project. Welcome back to SoFlo Home Project. I'm Alena Capra, and we are on our last stop of our hardware tour with Nikki Grantham, the creative director with Bellwith Products, and Debbie Miller of Miller's Elegant Hardware. So we have seen ways to place the hardware, we've talked about trends, we've talked about customization. I think this really illustrates the range of finishes and styles and sizes.
So when you see things like the bijou, for instance, that are those big statement pieces, think about where you can incorporate those pieces into your home. It doesn't have to be your whole kitchen, but where can you put that inflection of your personality in there?
Always make a statement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Debbie, what are you seeing in our market here in South Florida? Any emerging trends or things that you are seeing that are very popular?
We're actually seeing people getting away from just very plain simple. And I also want to say, besides the kitchen and the bathroom and the dining room buffets. There are bifold doors. There's so many applications that can lean into adding that decorative touch into someone's home.
I'm a big fan of the mixed materials. I personally love bringing that touch of like a marble with a beautiful finish. I think it kind of, that brings in something that I love.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I want to close with just thanking you both. This has been a wonderful day. I have learned a lot. We've got to share a lot of great things, see a lot of beautiful inspiration for decorative hardware. So thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thanks.
And in keeping you inspired with all things home design, take a peek at what we have for you next week. Wellness and design are linked together. Learn how to create a healthy lifestyle with organic and natural materials as we tour through a beautifully remodeled home. And before we go, let's check in with our friend Hunter Franke, the host of SoFlo Health, and see what things he is up to tomorrow. Hunter, what's going on?
Hey there, Alena. Tomorrow on SoFlo Health, we're at a pool hall, and we're going to show you some tips to up your game and just to give you some basics as well.
And we'll learn how assisted stretching can be more effective than stretching on your own. Plus, these plant-based bowls are the perfect healthy way to cool down from the summer heat.
It's all right here tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. on the one and only Local 10 for SoFlo Health.
Thanks, Hunter. That sounds great. We will definitely be watching. And to our viewers, we thank you for joining us this week. And we hope to see you again next week for another all-new episode of SoFlo Home Project right here on Local 10. And remember, there's no place like SoFlo Home. If you missed any part of this episode, or if you're looking for more design inspiration, make sure to check out all episodes online at SoFloShows.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram.